A vote is coming soon where Brevard County Commissioners are proposing to add a 6 cents per gallon gas tax increase for Brevard County. Not only will this add to your travel cost, but it will be a cost increase for any business who provides goods and services, and they eventually will pass that cost along to you. What is their rationale, and just how justified is their reasoning? And are there any other solutions that are available? As you can see from this chart, Florida fuel tax levies come from an interesting matrix of sources. Brevard County is currently receiving a 6 cents local option gas tax. The question is, what has the county been doing with this money? This chart gives you a view of Brevard County gas tax history. In 1985, the Florida legislature authorized counties to levy local option gas taxes. It was to be used to finance the building of new roads. Then from 2000 to 2005, we had no debt service, but we were still maintaining county roads. Starting in 2005, the local option gas tax revenues were financed and refinanced through bonds several times. This became a problem because bonded money cannot be used for road maintenance, only for new construction. But without a forensic audit, it is hard to determine just how much money has been borrowed because of all the rebonding, defeasing, and overlapping of bonds. Had we not started borrowing against this future revenue stream, there would have been plenty of funds available to keep pace with maintaining our county roads. This is an organization chart for the Public Works Department. It encompasses all road construction, design, maintenance, and ancillary functions, and it has several revenue sources, as you will see depicted in the next slide. Just as a comparison, Public Works has 212 employees. Brevard's Parks and Rec have 288 employees. So, for the purposes of budgeting, Parks and Rec seem to be at a higher priority than roads. This chart depicts the revenue sources utilized by Public Works. In the 2014-15 budget, Public Works shows total revenues of $53,741,000. Employee compensation and benefits coupled with debt service currently account for $44,102,000. Notice the debt service of $8.6 million. This closely resembles the revenue that would be generated by an additional 6 cents a gallon gas tax. So you can see, if we weren't using this revenue to pay interest, we could be using it for road maintenance. Compare the total county debt service versus the gas tax revenues. The county's budget shows only 6% of their entire budget going for debt service. However, if you look at the gas tax revenues, you will see that greater than 60% of those revenues are going to pay for bond debt service and not for roads. This chart clearly shows the bulk of gas tax revenues being spent on servicing debt rather than maintaining and building roads. The two bars of interest here is the purple and the red. You will note that the greatest amount of repair activity occurred between 2000 to 2005, in which we had no debt service. During that time, rather than continue on the maintenance schedule, or to reserve those revenues for projects, the county manager changed revenue allocations and moved revenues that previously were spent on road maintenance into salaries and administration. Then, from 2006 to 2015, note how the red bar far exceeds the purple, meaning that we were paying out more in debt service than what was going to fix roads. For the past 8 years, Brevard County has faithfully paid the interest on unused borrowed funds. It's no wonder Public Works has a road revenue crisis. Here we see a record of Brevard County road construction and maintenance. During the first 15 years of road taxes, these major roads were completed: Dairy Road, Melbourne, Wickham Road, Malabar, Grissom, and the I-95 connectors. During the past 15 years, projects started 10 years ago, such as the Palm Bay Parkway, Barnes Boulevards, and the Nassau-Ellis routing, are still awaiting completion. And yet the revenues for these periods are similar, with the exception of the debt service. As of November 12th of this year, Steve Burdett of Brevard County Finance reported that we have over $54 million in unused bank bond funds, while we are paying a whopping level of interest each year. Even the IRS asked why the funds were collected but not used as intended. Arbitrage rules disallow borrowing for the purpose of investment interest, but because we were paying more in interest than what we were earning, the arbitrage rules did not apply. However, at this rate, all these funds will be simply used to pay debt and not for roads. Back in May of 2007, Florida Today lauded the Brevard County Commissioners for biting the bullet and making the right move by issuing a $50 million bond for 30 road projects. They stated that there were some 470 miles of backlog. That was 8 years ago. And according to the Blue Ribbon Committee, the backlog is even larger, and no projects have been completed. The $50 million sat around unused, but not without being at a great cost. So why are the cities clamoring for this gas tax? Well, the county receives 47.14% of the gas tax, while the city receives 52.86%. If we are concerned about county roads, is this really a good business arrangement? Granted that most road projects are jointly funded, but the county does not participate in city taxes. So let's recap. Brevard County currently has some $35 million in local option gas tax bonds proceeds, plus another $11.7 million on hand in constitutional gas tax revenues. This money cannot be spent on repairs and maintenance. However, at $5.5 to $6.5 million plus in debt service on those funds, they will be exhausted in 8 years with no benefit to anyone other than our bondholders. During that 8-year time frame, there would be another $44 million in local option gas tax received, more than enough to have funded road projects. So you have to ask, why would you borrow money just to pay interest, then ask the taxpayers to ante up more gas tax revenues? As you will see from the following two charts, our goal of resurfacing 55 miles of road per year has been woefully neglected. How was this possible? Has management deteriorated that badly in the past 2 years? So if the recommendation is to resurface 55 miles of road per year, and the cost is $78,000 per mile, that would bring the total cost to under $4.5 million. So you have to ask, why is the county seeking to raise $6 to $8 million in additional gas taxes? Let's take a look at some of the spending that's occurred in the past few years. $1.4 million for EELS building, $1.4 for fire rescue building, $3 million for sheriff CSI building, $500,000 for fire rescue modulars, $1.19 for EMS Harris Claremont Street, $1.2 for the rejected supervisors of elections building, $6 million for my favorite mosquito control helicopters, $500,000 for spec buildings, $2.7 on lost bond specs, and who knows how much on EELS land acquisitions and NBID's corporate charities. Could any of this money have been used on roads rather than needless spending? Are charities a core function of government? Where does it say that government can take your money from general fund and disperse it to charitable organizations? Yet Brevard County has played a game of pick and choose and has handed out over $510,000 to charitable organizations, possibly even to some organizations you would not approve. Before any commissioner votes to support the 6 cents per gallon gas tax increase, they should consider some of the following recommendations. 1. Create a county budget priority list. This should be done before every budget cycle. 2. Create a county road priority list, and not just a Christmas wish list, but one that is based on true needs. 3. Use some of the $54 million that's currently in the bank to help maintain some of the roads that are most in need of repair. 4. Start to defease some of the bonding to knock down the high rates of interest. 5. Remove the funding of CRAs. If the cities like them, they can keep them, but they'll have to fund them with their own revenue. 6. Eliminate NBEDs. The amount of funding coming from FP&L alone could benefit the whole county and not just North Brevard. 7. Review the Sheriff's Department. Crime is down, so why hasn't their budget been reviewed and cut? 8. Review public safety budget that has never been cut. 9. Lower the millage rates on some of the departments such as EOs, parks, and libraries. 10. Sell some of the properties such as the EOs building on East Drive or the Supervisors of Elections building that was never wanted. 11. Start with 1 or 2 departments and put them on zero-based budgeting. This will help find any waste. 12. Review current Brevard County health plans and not with the current vendor. 13. Review the Brevard County phone system. Millions have been lost because of the AT&T contract renewal. 14. Review the 150 unfulfilled positions. If they have not been fulfilled in 6 months, eliminate that position. And 15, well, I'm sure there's plenty more. There is no disagreement that roads need to be among the highest priority of things that need to be done. But until we see the county, A, create a priority list for the county budget, B, create a road repair priority list rather than a Christmas wish list, C, fix the debt service issue, D, stop corporate welfare, E, stop the funding of CRAs and NBEDs, F, stop the distribution of general fund revenue funds to charities, and G, begin to use funds that are currently available to work on road maintenance. Then tell them no to the proposed 6 cents per gallon gas tax.